Hey guys, what's up? It's Schla coming back to ya with a rushed episode of Car Rides with Schla, where we're not really ready to go at the moment, and we're gonna be punching out in a moment, so see if everything went through okay. And come on, let's go. Alright, nothing's coming. So, yep. Alright. We are in business, friends. Alright. Let's see about getting stuff in business here. Alright. So I was pretty rushed, but I didn't end up making it entirely okay. So we're in good condition. Oh my gosh, and I'm stressing out because that one time I forgot. But I realized it's not even that critical for me to remember the hours at this point, and I just wrecked it anyway. Alright, whatever. Because it's gonna be, whatever. You guys don't even understand what I'm talking about. I had to run, and rush at the end. Running and rushing, but at the end of the day, everything is fine. So we ended up turning out okay, and that's all that matters, We lucked out as far as I am concerned. Now, the sad thing is I didn't get to paste this morning's transcript into GPT because honestly, I thought it was a decently solid episode, and it just I didn't really get to reflect on it, sadly. So sadly, there's not too much to say about that. Very sad, but true. Sad, but true. Yeah, I'm not really sure what else there is to it. What else is there to report? It's weird. It's all a weird situation. Sorry, this area looks tricky right now. I don't really know what's going on. Anyways, sorry for the first couple minutes of nothing. What were we talking about this morning? I think we're going to be getting home in a record time, at this rate, because I don't think I've ever gotten through there that fast. That literally just there was just a straight up record. But I don't think we're actually going to record because it's not later at night, but it is what it is. Yeah, so no actual record, but I mean, what can you do? Sad but true. Sad but true. Sorry, what do we have to talk about? I don't know. When I'm rushed like that and the adrenaline's pumping and everything, my mind is not in a state for talking, It's just not. So, it's a shame, but what can you do? But the show must go on. The show must go on, You just have to muscle it through and force it. Sadly, I don't even remember what we were talking about this morning. Sad but true, you know? It's sad but true. I really wish there was side windshield wipers on the sides of cars. That would be cool. But there's probably a reason why that doesn't exist. It probably has something to do with aerodynamics, but you could have them pop out. I think even now you could really have them pop out. You know, like just disappear into the body of the car. They just don't do that because it's another moving part that's going to break. But I wouldn't be surprised if maybe there is a car that exists where the windshield wipers vanish. They, you know, go underneath the exterior of the car or something like that. On some mega luxury vehicle. Yeah, I'm sorry. I don't know why I don't have anything to talk about. It's like this week wasn't even... You know, it wasn't too much dialogue, but I will say I'm at least happy I got somewhere, because I know the previous week we were kind of breaking down. Is this like the usual Friday kind of thing? It seems like on Fridays I tend to just start like getting in like more of a reflective state. Like it seems to be this like really consistent pattern. Just going over like, yeah, I would say though this week went by pretty quick, so it's nice. We're kind of in a good time. It's the holiday season, although I'm not really feeling the spirit of I'm not really feeling the Christmas spirit necessarily, but you know, it is what it is. You do what you can, you know, you do what you can. But it would be nice to get more into the spirit, you know. But I don't know, I feel like it's difficult for me to. There had to have been something I was still... Oh, I kind of remember what we were talking about this morning. I was rehashing my theory. My theory about, like, introverts not actually being a real archetype. Don't know if you guys recall. Wow, no turn signal right in front of a police officer. This guy in front of me, I don't know why. The cops probably got better things to do, but still, I mean, that's really crazy. Anyways, let me try to rechannel this morning, but it's not going to be as good as this morning's episode. It's definitely not. I mean, I already can tell, like, because we're already 9 minutes in. It didn't even feel like 9 minutes went by. It hardly even feels like a minute went by. I just think it's from running. And then, yeah, like after running, I haven't actually ran in a bit. And even though it was for a short period of time, it feels very good. Feels very good. So, I got nothing. No, I just wanted to see it. Well, I mean, I do got nothing, but I just wanted to blurt that out as like a little thing. I've still never even listened to any of these recordings on the 13 mini, so I don't even know if this mic's working. That's like the crazy thing. I have absolutely no idea if it's even working. But we assume it's working. I mean, that would be kind of crazy if all these episodes just weren't even recorded. No, well, we know it has to be working well enough because the transcription thing worked. So, yeah, that wouldn't really make any sense. I still feel like we might get home in record time. I don't know, it's weird. It's like really weird. It just happened to work out that way. It's been a while since it's worked out that way. So I was just drinking water. What I was thinking though was, yeah, like, I mean, I don't even know what's worth posting this episode. I don't even know why it's worth posting. I guess I just post it to like document. There's still like a few. Yeah, it's kind of crazy. No, this is definitely going to be a record breaking day. I know I'm going to get home like at a very good time. I can just tell. Yeah, I'm zoning out. Today was great. That's it. That's all. Today was great. Yesterday was great. Oh, I actually never talked about it. I actually wasn't feeling well yesterday, but I just took a nap and then I felt all better. So, I don't know. I ate like some ice cream, but I noticed like my appetite for ice cream, it's like low for some reason. I don't really understand how, because I used to eat like such extreme quantities of it, but yesterday it was just like, I don't know why. How things turned out that way, But yeah, fortunately, I just went to sleep and I was all better. Nothing happened. Which is great. It's exactly what you want. So I'm just having flashbacks. There was this time we were coming home from vacation in my Mini Cooper, and I had reached over, and I was reaching over, and what I don't like about these shifters is, you know how you usually, there's like a button that you have to press to move the shifter? Well, in like any of my cars, it seems like whether you press the button or like hold the button or not, the thing still shifts like pretty easily. And I just don't really like that, because I thought the whole point is like you have to press the button in order for it to shift. But my theory is that they make it weak enough so that in an emergency situation, well, actually, that doesn't really make that much sense, but the whole point is, it seems like I don't really understand. I mean, I know the point of the button is to like unlock it, but again, it seems like you can shift whether the button is pushed or not, which in my opinion, it defeats the purpose. Yeah, I don't know. And I had to reach over to get something while driving, and it shifted into neutral. And I was really stressed out because I didn't realize that. And I was putting my foot on the throttle, and the car was not moving. Obviously, the speed just kept going. This was while driving. And eventually I put on my hazards and I went to the side of the road. It didn't take long for me to figure out it was in neutral. And then I shifted back into drive, but it was a long drive home, and the check engine light was on the whole time, even after I had like stopped to get gas. But then I think once I got home, it was still on. And then I don't know, like the next time I drove the car, it just wasn't anymore. Yeah, sorry for such a boring story. It's just, I just remembered that because I was sitting here pressing this gear shifter button. I was sitting here just like pressing it because I really like pressing it. It's got a lot of spring to it. Probably shouldn't, but I like it a lot. I also like my center armrest, opening and closing that. I need like some buttons and switches in a car. You know? I think it's important. It's just like how on my phone, you know, I have the switches that don't do anything. You know what I'm talking about. On the iPhone, the action button and the camera button, I just have it so they do nothing, and I still press them from time to time. So, because I would always do that. I would always press the volume down button on my phone, but now Apple decided to actually give me fidget buttons. It's just, I wish they kept the mute switch, or I wish there was a phone with the camera button and the mute switch, because those didn't, they did the action button and then they did the camera. I don't think they did those at the same time, no. They did the action, then next gen they did the camera. What I don't really understand is why you can't map the camera button to just do anything. Even the action button, I'm assuming there's some limitation with it. And I guess I don't really get it. Like, I don't know why. I know especially with because I remember looking at it before, especially with the camera button, it's pretty limited as to what you can change the mapping to. And I get maybe they're doing that just for simplicity or consistency's sake, but I just don't really think it makes any sense. I don't know. I don't think it makes any sense, personally. I think you should just be able to, it's basically just like a second action button. But again, I guess they want to be consistent with the naming or something. I don't know, what else the reason could be. You know what I just realized? There might be a flaw with my turn signal having to be outside of the headlight cluster, because I just realized, because the car behind me, it has it lower instead of being upper, and I couldn't see it because he was so close to me. I mean, now, is that an issue of him being too close to me? Maybe it's like a separate, that's just like his personal issue with that. But I did not think about that, how it actually makes sense for drivers looking in the rear view to have the turn signal in the cluster, and that it only really becomes a problem when it's oncoming traffic and you can't see the turn signal. That's really when it becomes a problem. So I guess I'm just thinking of that now, and so the obvious solution is you need a dedicated lower turn signal and you need one within the cluster, or it should actually be like slightly above the headlight but near the headlight. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, there's honestly light design, it has gotten a lot better, other than the fact that like headlights don't really have a brightness adjustment, which they should. You should have like a low headlight setting, and a lot of times it's like too blinding and stuff like that. And I'm trying to think of like what else I'm thinking of. But in general, I do think lighting on cars has improved substantially. I mean, it used to be really bad. At least it didn't blind you, but I'm sure there were examples where like you couldn't really, well, maybe you could see the turn signal easier because they weren't as bright. I don't know. Maybe Maybe what I'm saying doesn't make a lot of sense. Yeah, I guess it's possible with older cars it was... Yeah, maybe it wasn't... Yeah, because maybe it's just the brightness of the headlight in relativity to the brightness of the turn signal light. That's the problem. And if you remedy that, then, you know, that obviously solves the problem. Now, the guy behind me, he honked at me because, you know, he's not really too interested in chill driving. I don't know, you know. A lot of people do that. And he was like turning I don't even... It's always the people who are turning anyway. Like, he honked at me, but he wasn't even going straight. So, like, there was no reason for him to accelerate much at all because he would have just had to brake. It's always the people where it doesn't even make any sense. It just makes no sense at all. I don't understand. Just like, well, I will never understand. I will just never understand. I guess humans are really biased towards just thinking about getting things fast and doing things quickly. You know, to the point that it biases their perception to other things. Like, they don't really think about other factors. I'm so serious. I honestly think we're going to break record. Like, I can't believe the time we're making right now. I really do. I think we're just going to end up breaking records. Although we have someone driving a bit slow in front of me, so that... I still think it could just be a record, even with that, though, because we're already so close to home. I would have never imagined. I was actually bracing for it to be like a worse than usual. Just a slightly worse than usual was my estimate, but I was extremely wrong. But again, if this guy was not... Again, he's driving relatively slow in front of me, and it's kind of ruining things. So, if it wasn't for this guy in front of me, I think it would have been even more of a true record breaker. But it still could be a record breaker by like seconds, because I just doubt that I've ever been close to home like this. Wow, this guy's driving slow. I don't know. This guy in front of me, this Nissan Altima, he's putting me in jeopardy. He's going like, he just went 30 and a 40 for absolutely no reason. There was no reason. He just like drifted down into 30. And he has not touched 40 this entire time. But I don't care. I mean, I don't care. It's just kind of bothering me because in this one instance, I would have... But I don't really care. But I think, like, we would have been, like, in a... you know, I'm just thinking, though, since it's already a record breaker, you know, I would have been speeding a little bit just to beat the record. But if I can, I don't mind. I just think it's, like, what are the odds that on this day of all days I get stuck? It's a new Altima, too. It's unusual for an Altima to be such a easygoing driver. Usually they're a bit more rambunctious. But I suppose that this guy or girl just is not. Sorry, I had a flurry of random thoughts. But yeah, I mean, we'll still probably break a record, but this this guy in front of me I actually don't even know if we're going to break a record, because I'm telling you, this guy in front of me, he probably made it, so I'm going to end up being home about a minute later than I would have. And now the time isn't looking like as impressive as it was. So I actually wasn't thinking about it, but I could have passed him, I think. But I don't like doing that. Again, like I said, it's not in my soul to do that. It's just not in my soul. So, it's whatever, but it's just one of those things. Like, of course, I'm always following by the rules, and like the one day I would have wanted to... Ooh, that was weird. Ooh, this is weird. He put his turn signal on, then he turned it off, then he turned his lights off, then he turned them back on. Then he put his turn signal on again and went down. It was like, okay. Well, we're almost home, and I don't think it's gonna be record breaking now that I'm seeing it. I don't know. I guess I just don't usually fixate on the time, but yeah. Or that guy could have cost me. I mean, that easily could have just... Maybe he did end up costing me the record breaker. I honestly have no way of knowing, because I'd have to do some calculation. But like I said, I mean, that made it so I was at least a minute slower. Like, there's, he did noticeably tarnish and ruin my trek. He tarnished my trek home. I'm sorry, this episode's so terribly boring. My brain is not thinking in an advanced way right now, so I don't know why, but you can't tame the beast. You can't control the beast. Yeah, now I feel like we're not really hitting a record, and I wonder if it's technically that guy's fault. Yeah, and another thing I feel like too in the future, instead of having stop signs, maybe there's just a camera at every intersection, and your car would just connect with Bluetooth to let you know whether somebody's coming or not, so you're not braking and therefore causing more emissions than you otherwise would. Isn't that a pretty interesting idea? I think it is. I think it's a very interesting idea. Anyways, it's been Schla, and now it's time to buy Schla. So, see you, Schla.